In late August 1786, Western Massachusetts farmers began an armed rebellion. They stopped courts from opening to protest and prevent what to them was unfair taxation and debt collection. Their plan also involved an attempt to seize Springfield Armory to possibly overthrow the state government. The rebellion had no real leader, but looking for a villain, Massachusetts officials cast one rebel, Daniel Shays, in that role, and soon the whole affair bore his name. These events were troubling to the young nation's leading men.
Without some alteration in our political creed, the superstructure we have been 7 years raising at the expense of much blood and treasure must fall. We are fast verging to anarchy and confusion. The consequences of a lax or inefficient government are too obvious to be dwelt on. 13 sovereignties pulling against each other and all tugging at the federal head will soon bring ruin on the whole. George Washington to James Madison, November 5th, 1786.
These events are distressing beyond measure to the zealous friends of the Revolution, and furnish new proofs of the necessity of such a vigor in the general government as will be able to restore health to any diseased part of the federal body. James Madison to George Muter, January 7, 1787.
The Confederation government was unable to raise funds to put troops in the field to end the rebellion. In early January 1787, without either authority or funds from the state legislature to do so, Massachusetts Governor James Madison decided to buy an army. He asked for 4,400 volunteers and turned to Boston businessmen for the funds. The eastern counties put up their quota, but the western counties, where the rebellion started, sympathized with the rebels and feared the standing army Madison seemed to be building. They fell short of their quota, and the governor's army only numbered 3,000. Militia scattered the rebels at the federal arsenal at Springfield, and the threat of the army marching from the east sent the rebels into retreat. By the end of February, the rebellion had been defeated. Madison had been a proponent of the ill-fated Annapolis Convention to amend the Articles of Confederation, and he was eager that it should be given a second chance, which was set for May 1787 in Philadelphia. At the Federal Convention, Shays' rebellion still weighed heavily on Madison's mind, and he used it to critique the plan of New Jersey's William Paterson.
The insurrections in Massachusetts admonished all the states of the danger to which they were exposed. Yet the plan of Mr. Paterson contains no provisions for supplying the defect of the Confederation on this point. James Madison, June 19, 1787.
In August 1787, as the convention was winding down and months after Shays' rebellion had ended, the danger Madison feared was realized again, this time in his home state of Virginia. As many as 300 men, led by a tavern keeper named Adonijah Matthews, united in Greenbrier County, approximately 200 miles west of Madison's home in Orange County, to resist taxation and the collection of debts and threatened to keep courts closed to prevent those proceedings. These riots ended after little more than 1 week, compared to Shays' rebellion, which lasted for 6 months. But the repeated challenge to those who wished to rule at home after the American Revolution proved to men like Madison and Washington just how important it was to create a strong central government.
I hope that the great and most important of all objects, the federal government, may be considered with that calm and deliberate attention which the magnitude of it so loudly calls for at this critical moment. Let prejudices, unreasonable jealousies, and local interests yield to reason and liberality. Let us look to our national character and to things beyond the present period. No morn ever dawned more favorable than ours did, and no day was ever more clouded than the present. Wisdom and good examples are necessary at this time to rescue the political machine from the impending storm. George Washington to James Madison, November 5th, 1786.